The coaches are in. When you need a timely, transparent friend, tune into the coaches are in. Talking career, business, health, and wealth. You got a friend now. Into the coaches are in. With authenticity, come on, let's take a seat and tune in.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
How you ladies doing this evening?
Doing great.
You know,
Living the dream.
We are pressing through. through. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to say the least. I would concur.
Yes.
And it's interesting as we, of course, we're on here before we go live, and it's been a day for all of us. So it's interesting. The topic is CEO energy. Only.
We're like
energy.
Bring the energy. Bring the energy.
We don't really have it.
We don't. but we're going to be here for the people.
That's right. We are showing up anyway. So welcome to the Coaches Are In. And tonight we are talking about CEO energy, and not just in business, but in how we lead our lives, relationships, money, and mindset. We're excited to be talking about this topic with you all this evening, and we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves and then go ahead and jump right in. I am Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon, creator of the Coaches Are In and CEO of the Aligned Biz Co. I am your go-to business alignment strategist for turning your expertise into income and impact.
Love it. And I am Allison Garrett. I am your behavioral interventionist, and I work with women who struggle with identifying what's holding them back, and I help them break free without years of therapy.
And I'm Dr. Malika, and I am the CEO of the Speak Her LLC, and I help you build confidence, encourage you to go be great in everything that you do, and show up as the greatness, with the greatness that is already in you and was in you at birth.
All right.
Ooh, that was in you at birth. Well, go ahead.
Come on, greatness. Show up, greatness.
That's right.
All right. So let's start the conversation off by sharing how we define as individuals CEO energy. So who wants to start off by sharing?
I can start. When I think of CEO energy, I think mainly like being the decision maker. And because we're talking about it like in every area of our lives, it's not just about making decisions in business, but you have to be present and show up in every area of your life in that same way. So to me, when I say what's CEO energy, to me, it's bringing authenticity in your decision making in every area of your life.
I like that. It's funny. I think yesterday my husband preached about being a good steward, and as I was preparing, I thought, bringing that CEO energy means I know that I've got a lot to manage, and I'm going to manage it. And so I'm going to show up. I'm going to be about business. I carry the vision. And I'm going to make decisions like I do, sort of connected to what you said, Coach Allison. It's like, I've got decisions to make, and I'm here to make the hard decisions. But I've also got to remember I carry the vision.
Yes.
And the last thing I said is you have to be able to delegate. And so I'm bringing that energy of, I know when I need to show up, how I need to show up, but I also know when I need to outsource, delegate, and give that to someone else, because I have other things that require my attention that pertain to the vision of the business and of my life.
Yeah, that's good. Both of those responses are good. So I think what I would say kind of adds on to that, because I agree with all of that. So around the delegation piece, around this kind of recognizing what my expertise is and where I need to trust in other people's expertise where I don't have it. So they can help me continue to push the mission and the vision forward, because ultimately that's what it's about, whether it is my business mission and vision or my personal mission and vision. We're always trying to get to that manifestation stage. And
Right.
oftentimes like, we're not equipped to do it all alone. We're equipped, but we're not equipped to do it alone.
That's good.
Right? Yeah. And then I think the other piece to that is also just being able to lead, and whether that is leading other people or leading ourselves, because sometimes we can, as leaders, you can focus on the leadership of other people,
Yeah.
but focus on how you are leading yourself in terms of the decisions you make and how you're showing up, and how what you are doing is impacting other people.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all connected. That's the part that, you can't, I think it was almost like, thinking of having like private, like public success, but private failure. Like, you see people that do great and they show up in their office and they're great for their team and all of that, but then that doesn't transfer into their personal lives.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. So now with having those definitions kind of out there in the open, let's share some personal examples of playing small versus showing up as the CEO of your life.
Okay.
Can I start with that one? Because I think about some things I was thinking about was ducking and diving, trying to hide behind. Not, the difference is when you show up as the CEO, you have to come out of the shadows. You have to, you can't just, I'll just do this here and I'll do this here and I'll keep myself really busy. You have to, and I don't necessarily know that that's playing it small, but I will say that when you make the decision that I'm going to do outsourcing, which I have a story about that later, but and you step out as the front man or the front woman, the front person, the decision maker, but more importantly, the rep, the contracts. You come out of just doing the behind the scenes work at home behind the desk, but you're making the calls and you're talking to people about sponsorship, money, contracts, employment. That to me is stepping out into that CEO, and not being behind the scenes and convincing yourself that you just need to be doing the grunt work of the business and not stepping out and being the, you know what I mean, making that, being that face of your business.
Yeah.
And I think that even in my own life, I've realized that I don't think I've ever had a problem with leading necessarily, but I think I did it better in my 9 to 5 than I did in my business.
Oh, that's good.
Because in my 9 to 5, I had to.
Right.
I was getting paid to, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't say, I had this policies and rules and regs. It was like, okay, this is the expectation. But when I started my own business, I was okay with doing the behind the scenes work. But now people want to talk to you. They want you to tell you what the business is about. They want to tell you how it impacts them and how we can partner. And now it's like, I had to take off doing this, and I had to say, hi, my name is Dr. Malika, and this is what the business is about. And I think that is playing it small. Like you can get settled in doing this stuff here and kind of duck and dive and stay behind the shadows. You got to come out of the shadows if you're a CEO. You've got to talk to people. You've got to make the tough decisions. And I think that is, for me, the difference there, playing it small versus, showing up as the CEO.
Yeah, that's good. I think that happens.
Make sense?
Yes, for sure. I think it happens when you start thinking. It kind of ties into where I feel like I have the experience of playing it small in the past, and it's literally like worrying too much about what other people think. And And I worried about that over the impact that I could make. So for so long, I just gave bits and pieces of myself, of my CEO-ness,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
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 I knew that was what I was called to, but I was so worried about what other people thought, or will people really listen to me, or is this really important to anybody? So it's like playing it small from that aspect of being it in all areas that were behind the scenes, like you said, but publicly it's like, oh yeah, that's just nothing, like I'm like, my story is just my story, and it's private and it's personal and nobody really cares about it. But I saw this this thing once, and then I had someone kind of confirm it at a workshop that I went to. And it basically said that your calling is really in not the easy things, but the things that embarrass you. It's almost like it, like you're called to do something that others could benefit from, not the fluffy stuff, not like, oh, I can teach you this and oh, I can teach you that, but it's in the embarrassing things. And originally I thought like nobody really wants to hear about something you're embarrassed about, right? But there was so much liberation in that when I went to this workshop. And I used to keep both my businesses separate, right? So it's like I have a whole separate identity over my mobile spa business, and then different from my coaching business. And she said, the power is in bringing them together.
Yeah.
You are a coach because of your business. You are in business because of your embarrassing moment.
Yeah.
So for me, that was the playing it small. It's like trying to fluff it up and only show people what I thought was attractive to them, but really owning what I learned to be my CEO energy. It's like that. You get all of it. You don't just get the one that's showing you this. You got to get all of it so that it resonates more with people.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, that is good. I could definitely relate to the that holding back because of what people were going to think about you. And I still deal with that today, to be quite honest. I'm hoping I don't have to deal with it for the rest of my life, but today I won't deal with it, right? So for me, there are two examples that come to mind. One is when I am working with other people in support of their vision or mission. And I have, like, I'm an ideas person. I'm a problem solver. I can see the possibilities and come up with ideas like that. And, I share those things. And, sometimes it's always like, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. But it's not always actually acted on. And I do get that not every idea I have is going to be acted on, because I don't act on everybody else's ideas like that. Right?
Ideas. There's a lot of ideas.
I get that. But then when you see some of the same issues, like just like coming up, and it's like, what do you think we should do? And it's like, well, I gave you like 5 different things you could do, and you haven't acted on any of them. For me, it gets to a point where I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna shut up and be quiet, right? Because obviously you don't value my input, so I'm not gonna give you anything else. Right. And I think a lot of people can understand that, but when in the realm of CEO energy, I feel like, maybe I should sometimes still just keep talking and keep sharing my ideas, even if I'm repeating the ideas, or even kind of taking a stance of like, you're going to hear me. Right. I'm giving you a solution to your problem. You're going to hear me, and kind of taking up that space versus just like, feeling frustrated about it and just like, all right, well, I'll just be quiet then. And then I think, the other way that I see it showing up more so kind of in my personal life, probably now, it's more so out of situation than just like, fear or anything like that. I feel like I actually have in my personal life, I have decision fatigue. I have, I'm not necessarily leadership fatigue, but it's almost like I'm trying
I don't want to
be.
do this anymore.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I
Is
don't want to
that
be in
where
this
we
role
are in this
anymore.
season? Oh my gosh. Can we blame that on menopause? Because that's
Oh, maybe that is it. But I mean,
I
even
don't want to make
things,
no decisions. You just do it.
right, even as simple as where do you want to go to eat? And this normally I have definitive ideas about what I want to eat, where I want to go, and all of that. It might take me 30 minutes to figure out what I want on the menu when I get there, but I know okay, I want seafood, or I want this, I want that. And I'm just like, I can't even think about it. I don't have the capacity to think about it right now. I need you
Right.
to
I like that.
decide. And I'm like
Decision-making
that
fatigue.
with a lot of things right now. And I do feel like to a certain extent, I'm giving up control and feeling like I'm taking a back seat in my life. But part of me is saying to me that you probably need to do that for your sanity and your mental health and wellness, and let somebody else take the lead right now.
Good. Yes.
Well, and it balances out having to do the CEO energy in the business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it helps you to be able to say, I can be CEO here too, but I don't want to have to bring that to the home too,
Right.
or
Yeah.
to a situation in the, I want to be able to
Right.
just say, whatever you want to do.
I know, right.
Because
And I
you
think,
can't do that in your business.
yeah, I mean, and
Right,
that's the
exactly.
expectation. It's like when you're a person, and I know this for me, and this is something that I was just talking to Dr. Sharita about before we got on. It's like you just start to think of, do I really have to have all the answers all the time for everyone? Because they are waiting, right?
Yeah.
The teams that you lead, the family that you are a part of, like everyone has the expectation that you as the CEO, oh yeah. I mean, even when I got sick a couple weeks ago, people were like, oh, we can't have you sick. We got to get you. We need you well. You need me well. I need me well.
Right.
But I also think that that's like a title that transfers into other areas of your life naturally. Like you running a show, you doing this, you doing that. You have the answers, you help people. And I too am a problem solver. And I just kind of learned today that to a fault.
Yeah. So what happened is people pull on you.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
So
and
that's part of CEO energy too. Like it's not all, like strength and power. Like sometimes CEO energy is diminished from a lot of different things. I think that's important too. Like managing all of those things and claiming and being and owning that title does not mean that you don't get tired, does not mean that you can't take a break.
Exactly.
So I think it's also a balance if we're talking about defining the energy. Sometimes the energy is depleted.
Yeah. That's it for real. And so as CEOs, they're able to take vacations and take time off. They don't seek permission to do that. They might inform some people.
Right.
Right?
But
they're not asking, can they take time off? They go do what they need to do. Hopefully they're not going to Coldplay concerts or anything like that. But but they go, they take their time away from work without seeking permission to do so. And I think, especially as Black women, it's like we are taught to be leaders. We're taught to be nurturers. We're taught to be strong and resilient and to press through. So from that perspective, we kind of show up, or it looks like we're showing up with CEO energy, but often that energy is not used to actually push forward the mission and vision that we have in place. It's used to push forward other people. Things that we want kind of stay in the background, or even if in the case of like entrepreneurship, well, I do have my business, but am I actually giving everything to my business that I should be giving to it because of all of these other things that are calling on me and pulling on me to be the CEO of those things as well.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So in thinking of all of that, then so in essence, how do you feel? Like, what do you think with everything that we just kind of talked about, what mindsets or mindset shift do you need to own that CEO energy, but stop managing chaos, right? And instead, like, start leading with clarity. Because we did mention a little chaos in there, and it's all reality. But how do we have that? What do we need to do to shift that mindset from the chaos to the clarity?
Yeah, two things that come to mind. One is survival mode, because I think when you're in survival mode in a new
Yep.
business, if you are new in a business, you are trying to make it work, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that shifting that mindset, so like after a while, I might get it. When you're starting a business, you're trying to, be about it, be diligent, resilient when things don't happen. But here's something that I don't think is going to be popular. Society, business society talks so much about the grind.
Mhm.
And I said, I understand hard work,
Mhm.
but I think we have to be really, I know I am being very careful about this grind mindset. And
Mhm.
I think I have to shift a little bit, because grind for some people means you get no sleep. You're up at 3 a.m. before everybody else is up,
Mhm.
Right.
and you are making it happen all day, and you are work, 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 and you may not get sleep, but your business may make millions.
Mhm.
I don't know that I want to sacrifice my health and well-being for
Right.
success.
Mhm.
But
Right.
I do understand and have been taught hard work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's where I think for me, the mindset shift is like, I am going to work, there's a scripture that says a diligent hand makes one rich. Now I'm sure there's context, but I'm taking it by what I see. I
Mhm.
recognize and I know that a diligent hand, working hard, putting your hand to the plow and working but grind to the point where I can't function and breathe and I can't move and I'm not eating.
Right.
I'm stepping away from that mentality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
good.
I definitely get that. So my whole thing, you use the word grind, and I'm like, I'm not hustling, right?
Hmm.
Because we would talk about like hustle, hustle, hustle. I'm
Hustle,
like, no,
hustle mentality.
I'm not hustling. I want to flow. I don't want to hustle. So when you
I
think
like
Every day
that.
I'm
about
hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
when you think about grinding, when you grind something, you wear it down.
Oh yeah.
So like, why would you like? That's not a badge of honor. That's not a badge of
Right.
honor, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I think in terms of mindset shifts, one I think is fighting against that whole idea of we have to be everything to everybody
Right.
Mm.
and putting ourselves last. That's business or personal. And Allison, you said like, how do we stop managing chaos? I think part of that is like I don't bring chaos into my life.
Mhm.
Other people might bring chaos into my life,
Hmm.
but I don't
Right.
bring chaos into my life. So if I am finding that my life is feeling chaotic, then there are some boundaries that I probably need to establish with people.
Mhm.
Or even just kind of pushing back, like this is not my issue. This is not my thing to be concerned about. Like you're going to have to handle this. You're going to have to figure it out. You need
Mhm.
to get your help from somewhere else besides me right
Hmm.
now,
Hmm. Hmm.
but those things are hard for us to do because like I said, we've been told we got to work hard. We got to work harder than everybody else. We're told that that expectation that we've got to show up for other people whenever they want us to show up. And
Mhm.
we've got to be smart and smarter, and we've got to be skilled but have more skills.
Right. You got
Right?
to be
Yeah,
double. You got to be
it doesn't
double.
end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We got to do all of that and still apparently stand in our feminine energy.
Mhm.
I don't know how you grind and how you hustle and how you fight for everybody else and then still be soft.
Yeah.
Like that's a hard
and receive soft and be
yes.
okay to receive it.
Yes.
Because you're kind of on the what?
You're right. You're like, you said what?
What?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you love me? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't even I thought you were saying something else. You know, it's hard.
Yeah. I think too, the mindset shift kind of goes into more of like service and purpose instead of like that, you know, like how you described it, Dr. Malika, was like, I don't remember the word you used, but I look at it like self-protection, right? So a lot of that mindset shift is like, can I do it? Or, you know, what will they think of me? What if I fail? If we're playing it small. And then the mindset shift for that to me comes from really like service and purpose. Like, what is my mission, my purpose? And that's how a CEO is guided, you know, in a company. And if you think of that in other areas of life, how you actually, you know, shift that mindset, it's to go from that whole self-preservation into like service and purpose. Like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? What is, and it'll guide you into doing the things that you're supposed to be doing and away from the things that, you know, are chaotic or seem like chaos, or even leading teams that have chaos. Like that would be, you know, something that I can relate to. Is sometimes it's not just business or home, it's like other people that you're leading that have chaos and conflict, and then this is me, I got to step in and, you know, have them see things differently. So that's kind of how I would look at the mindset shift. But all that's good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I guess, go ahead, Dr. Sharita, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
No, I was thinking about when we think about the mindset shift, also the boundaries. You know, how do we set those boundaries? How do we build that confidence? And when do we say no? Right, as we're talking about that. I think that the CEO energy, if done right, your confidence level will increase, will be challenged. And if you have to step out, like I said before, out of the shadows to represent, to be the face, to talk about, you're going to have it's your baby. Like, the one thing I can talk about are my children. I know my children, right? I know them fairly well. You know what I mean? But so there's a confidence level that I have because of that. And so it's like, I know that if I'm staying in the shadows and stepping back, I have to challenge myself and say, are you confident? Where's your confidence level as far as being able to go out there and be who it is that you are supposed to be, or being that CEO of your life, and being able to say, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. Or something you said, Dr. Sharita, this last week, somebody had texted me some information, and it was something they were dealing with, and I immediately start going into fix it mode. And I'm like, this is not my issue. They did not even ask me for help. I just immediately felt, so it's that kind of knowing when I need to say, this is not for me. This is not mine. And I think that even whether it's in our businesses or it's in our personal life, we have to know when to step into our confident CEO, say no, back up and say, this is not for me. And know that when you step out of it, somebody else, they'll get what they need from someplace else. And that's okay.
Yeah. The no is a good one. And a lot of people have trouble with saying it. I learned a while ago about like a calendar exercise, right? Go in your calendar and see how many things are in there that are for you and how many things are for other people. And you kind of say no to the things that's going to take you farther away from the things that you really desire to do. So that was, you know, that makes sense. It's like, okay, if I looked at my calendar, it's like all this other stuff Nothing about all the things I want to do. If you sit down and say, well, how would you like to spend your month? I'd say, oh, I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that. None of that's on the calendar. It's all take the kids here, do this for this person, run this meeting, have this event. Like it's all these things that have nothing to do with me. So no kind of comes into play when you don't have enough things for you that you need to start replacing from all the things that you have on your calendar that have to do with other people, and nowhere in your CEO life, your business, your relationship, any of that, you're not moving the needle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think clarity is really important to be able to establish boundaries, to make the appropriate decisions, to be able to say no, and even to build your confidence, like being clear about why you are here or why your business exists, because this is personal life and business life, right? So like what is the why and where is it that you're going? Because, and you kind of spoke to it, Allison, before, that if none of that is clear to you, you're going to say yes to a whole lot of things that you shouldn't be saying yes to. You're going to be easily distracted. You're going to kind of, be like the squirrel, just like all over the place, right? And then if you couple that with a desire or a need to feel needed. Yeah, exactly.
That's
success. Success is being needed to a fault.
Yeah. So you really just have to be clear on like what is the mission and what is the vision, and what am I being asked to do, or what responsibility is being put on me that either takes me closer to that or pulls me away from it. And now there will you may have to say yes to some things that do pull you away from it, because life is life, and sometimes things just happen. You can't always get your way, right. And there are some things you're just going to have to deal with, but overwhelmingly we should be putting first things first and focusing on the things that are most important to us, to our businesses, to our families' well-being, but also recognizing that we don't always have to be the ones to make it happen. Like you in your business, you should be hiring people who are capable, who are skilled, who are experienced, who have knowledge and skills that you don't have. In your family, you should be raising capable people. You should have married a capable person, right? So
that's true.
It doesn't all have to fall on you. But what are the things that you decide to push back on, to delegate, to distribute the responsibilities for? Like, what are they? You won't know that without the clarity.
Right. Yeah. Number one. No, sound like number one, clarity. So you know where you're going. So with all of this energy, right? How do we align our energy, actions, and expectations to actually create this harmonious life, business, everything that we're talking about? Like, how do we really manifest that with thinking of those things, right? How do we align those things together? Our energy, our actions, and our expectations.
I think you just said it. You align your energy, actions, and expectations.
In that order. Well, that means expectations kind of low on the list.
I think you get, not necessarily it's low on the list, but I think you can't determine what the expectations are until you've got the other things in play.
That's
right.
Good.
Yeah. I think delegating is a big piece of manifesting. I think when you have a vision for your business, I think the next level is realizing you have to delegate. I think and I think I say that because I was one of those business owners who struggled with, I have to do it.
In order for it to be done right.
So I'll give you an example. I'll just be transparent. So it's like I can do a website. I can do it myself. I'll just do it on Canva. Now, to me, it was slick, right? Until there were some things that I had a vision in my business that I wanted to offer, I wanted to do, and it limited that ability to do that. And it hit me like I have got to do what CEOs do. CEOs look at the big picture
Right.
and realize we've got to write a big check for this particular service that I can't do well. I can do okay if I want to remain that kind of business, but if I
Right.
want to take it to the next level, I've got to write the check. I've got to
Yeah.
make the investment. Let me say it that way.
Mhm.
I've got to
Good.
make the investment. I've got to go do the research. I've got to find somebody who can do it better than I can. And then I can begin to, my vision begins to manifest through me saying, I can do this and somebody else can. And I think that I feel like, and y'all know, when you first start, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
Because only you can do it, because only you know the vision.
Right.
But when you go to that next level, you have to be able to communicate the vision so that someone else can carry out the work that you're investing in and do it the way you want it done.
That's right.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's some CEO energy that I, in this last, for me in this last season, I've been realizing like, okay, this is how this works. You can't sit back and try and do every little thing. That's
No.
not the kind of business owner you want to be. That's not the vision that you have. So
Right.
make the investment and get it done. And then when they say, is this good? You say, no, I don't like that. Let's try this. Let's do
Right.
this. Let's put our heads together and let's do this. Because I am a creative. So I know how to put it. You see what I'm saying? So I think as CEOs that if we want to see it happen, sometimes we've got to take our hands off of doing it and investing and letting someone else do it and manifest that vision for us.
Yeah. That sounds like a CEO level move to me.
That's it.
It does. But I like how you brought up the word manifestation, Allison, and I think it's important for us to talk a little bit more about that, because their manifestation is a big word and it's used in a lot of different ways. And sometimes people, it's like this, like I'm going to manifest something, right? Now, and let me say, I am a faith-filled person. I am a believer in Jesus Christ and God the Father and the Holy Spirit, right?
Right.
So, but things do not manifest without there being some movement. Like you've got to do something. Like your $1 million contract isn't just going to fall out of the sky into your lap.
Yes.
You've got to do something. You've got to take some actions, make some decisions, put that energy out there. Back to what you said, set the expectations. Like what should I expect based on what I'm doing?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But things just don't miraculously appear and come to be without your action.
You got to do the work.
Being involved.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes people, especially like in business, I talk about this in my program about how like people like are just kind of like, I'm going to build it and they're going to come. No,
yeah,
they're not. not unless you go out there and tell them about it.
You got to let them know. Like, how do they know?
You know what I'm saying?
But I was like that. I was like that, Dr. Sharita. I was waiting for God to listen. I ain't seen heaven, but I was waiting for something to fall. And it was like, no, baby girl, you have to work the business.
Yes.
You're asking for success. Okay, success is possible, but you gotta do the daily on the earthly things to make the connections and to talk to the people who give you favor when you talk to the people. That's the work.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And I'm big with manifestation, but I've learned there's a model to it. Right. So for me, it's like It's called like the be, do, have model. So if there's something that I want to have, there's a certain type of person that I want to be. And then in being that person, there's certain things that I have to do. So so I always work backwards, right? So I look at what I want to have. I'm very visual, right? It's either pictures or words, or I can, like when I have written a book, I do the cover first. Then I can see what's going to go inside, right? So to me, that's the backwards way of, manifesting. So it's like seeing it. So then I have to figure out, like you said, the work comes in with, now what type of a person is going to have the thing that I want to have? That's where you start learning to do. A lot of people do it in reverse, and they want to have something, but they don't want to do any of the things that the people did to get what they got. Social media is big for that. It makes you see someone and you just like, oh my gosh, they're so great and they're so successful. And you don't know what they did. You don't know what they went through. You don't know how long it took them. Before I popped out on the scene, there was a lot of behind the scenes before anybody ever even knew my name. So I think that's really the key, is manifestation is not hocus pocus or magic. It's ideally focusing on exclusively what you want, not being negative and not focusing on all the ways you can't get it. And then you'll be guided into the direction of seeing something or meeting someone who helps you along the way to make it work faster. So, and it starts with everything that we said. You got to have clarity. You have to know what it is that you want. You can't just, people will say to me, like, even in coaching, well, what do you want? Oh, I want to be happy. What does that look like?
What does that mean?
You can't even describe it. I don't know. I just want, if you don't see it or have ever experienced it, you sure are not going to manifest it into your life. So maybe you need to be around some people who are happy, and you could say, I want that. Now, what did you do to get that? What kind of a person are you to get that? Are you negative or are you positive? So it's, it's mind blowing, but so much power in it. And that's what the CEO has to be able to do.
So you saying I just can't desire to lose these 15 pounds?
Oh yeah, they're gonna fall off overnight. Look at one of them infomercials at 2 o'clock in the morning. The magic pill.
Listen, whether you work out or get surgery.
Well, we're not gonna be the person who gets the surgery. I ain't nobody.
I mean, in general, not you, but I mean,
right. I got to be the person that works out. I got to be the person that doesn't get off.
You got to eat right.
Eat your activity level. Yes, it could come off magically. It's just going to take a long time, and you might be sick.
And that is not. This is not to discount the power of your mind, but we need people to just get that you got to work for what you want. It really is as simple as that. And some of that work is internal in terms of being the person that you need to be and doing those things. And some of it is just, what actions are you willing to take? What are you willing to do, to invest, to get what it is that you say you want? Because nobody else is going to be willing to do those things for you and make those investments for you if you won't do it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yep.
And if you know who God is, you need to pray first. Set the tone.
Get some direction.
Some clarity, some direction. And sometimes you won't have to take the long route. You know what I'm saying? You might connect with somebody because you went to the store because you forgot the butter, and you go back to the store and you meet somebody. You just never know.
Yep. See, that's it. Yes, that's it. You had to get up and go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So I do want to close out with one last question, because I think I said in the one of the promos I put out there that we were going to share what a CEO level move that we made recently.
I think Dr. Malika shared hers already. She hired somebody for that website.
I did, but that is one thing. But my thing was going to be, I went to New York this weekend and did and met some folks for the next level of the business. So
awesome. That's outside of the box. That's good.
Yeah, very much.
And I think what I did actually just last week, And it's funny with what all of you have said. I'm the one that usually just does everything. And it's almost like people are like, you could do everything. You could do everything. So there is some like, okay, I can do everything. But I'm doing this quiz, and normally I would create all the email sequences to go with the quiz. And if I got 5 questions and I need 5 emails, that's 25. I sit down all day and just do it. And I didn't. I gave somebody my idea and I made an investment, and they did all of them for me in a day. And I still got to have my day the way I needed my day. So that was my recent
that's good
CEO level move, because normally I'm just like, for one, I don't want to pay nobody. I know how to do this. And like you said, I could do it the way I wanted. I know how I want it to look, but no, I can't waste the whole day doing all that when I could have somebody else do it and free my time to do some other things.
That's good.
Okay, so you took mine, Allison.
We're on the same page.
I sat down to do something and was like, I don't want to do this. And then I picked up the phone and I'm like, how much is it going to cost me? And they sent me back a price. I was like, all right, let's
get it done.
Yeah.
So let's see. Another one was I had to I shared this with you all before we started the show that so I'm launching like a solo show associated with my business next month. And I shouldn't have said that just in case I changed my mind. But no, I'm a CEO, not just
accountability CEO.
And as CEO, if you want to change your mind, you can.
Right.
Because you're the CEO.
Right. But I been kind of knew what the show was going to be. I had the name, I had the logo, I had a lot of like web pages and stuff, like all the stuff already done. Just needed to get to the space where I had the capacity to take the next step and launch it. And went to set up, the one thing that I had not done was set up the YouTube channel. And went to set it up, and it was like the name is taken. I'm like, who got my name? So I just started doing some searching, and I find the person who's got my name, who happens to be in their first season. So I took too long, but that's okay. Normally, I would have stewed in that and been like, what am I going to call a show?
Right.
And like emotionally distraught over it not going my way. But I was able to just pivot quickly. I'm like, this is the name of the show. Let me go get another logo. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me do that. And we're done. Quick decision. Not making it a life or death situation, because it wasn't a life or death situation. You can't use the name, or you could use the name, but now people are going to be confused and they might end up on her channel instead of on yours.
Right. Yep. Got to be smart.
So what are we doing in the moment? What are we doing? Quick decision, pivot, and let's go.
Let's go.
That's good.
Yeah, that's it. That's good stuff.
Well, we're going to have you on Pivot with Dr. Malika then, so you can talk about your show.
I would love to be on Pivot with Dr. Malika.
Oh yes. Well, I think we done showed them about the CEO energy.
I think we have. So we do want to let you know about the next show that is coming up on August 4th. That is the first Monday. Yes, I'm like processing it as I'm saying it. August 4th. And that episode is When the Smoke Clears, Rising from Pain to Platform. We're going to have a special guest, Tanisha Bestseller Johnson. So Bestseller should give you a hint about what she's doing and what she's about, as well as the word platform. So she's going to be sharing with us about her story, very powerful story, and how she used that those experiences growing up and even into adulthood to publish multiple books, and now helping other people to publish books as well. Some of the work that she's doing in the community as well. So we're excited to be talking with her about that on the first Monday in August 4th, right here on the Coaches Are In TV.
Love it.
Be live. And as always, we thank you for watching us, whether live or the replay. Be sure to like this episode, subscribe to the channel so you can get the reminders, and share, tell somebody about the good news. Coaches are in.
Tell them. Go tell it.
Yeah.
All right.
like
So
that.
yeah, so I think that's it for tonight, ladies.
That's it.
I think
All
so.
right.
Great
Thanks for
conversation.
watching. Yeah, it was good.
Yep.
It was good.
Yep. Have a good night and thank you again.
The coaches are in. When you need a timely, transparent friend, tune into the coaches are in. Talking career, business, health, and wealth. You got a friend now into the coaches are in. With authenticity, come on, let's take a seat and tune